if we have 20, 22 hours power supply, it would definitely impact largely on the productivity and, of course, the profitability of businesses in Nigeria. So imagine if you have better power supply, it will really encourage even businesses to spring up and also encourage FDI, foreign direct investment in the country. But as we speak today, most companies are running on diesel. Most organizations that are not running on diesel are running on gas, which of course is not active is cheap. So, but the real electricity, if we can have that, it will definitely impact largely on the survival of our businesses. Also, improve security. Yes, a situation where you are scared to even travel because transportation also plays a major role in the survival of business or enable business to thrive. But when you can't travel by road, Kaduna to Abuja, Lagos to Ondo, and for the fear of being kidnapped or being attacked by bandits and all that, some of these things affect businesses. And I think that's one of the reasons why I said I doubt if we can attain the top 70 that we're talking about in 2023, because in recent times we've had serious security challenges in the country, which of course will rub off on our on the survival of business. Then majorly too is there must be a socio-cultural change in this the mindset of people around this Dorime mentality of is a street cliche where they say I want to bam bam, I want to go with the big boys, and by the time you begin to think of making so much without paying attention to the rudiments of how to run businesses, you see a lot of people who started business just because they want to make so much money and flaunt their expensive lifestyle and maybe rub it off on some other people that they are competing with. They tend to dig deep into their own finances in such a way that their business do not survive thereafter. And of course, they will blame it on government policies, but knowledge and capacity building for business owners, all these things are key for business to survive. And government has tried its best in any way, but also for we as human beings, we also need to also play our own part. Even
let me come in
about
here.
Ministries, departments, and agencies where they should enable businesses to thrive based on their policies and their orders.
All right, let me come in here.
They usually go against the rules, and this is definitely affecting the survival of business.
All right. Now, you've mentioned two things that are very important. You talked about security, and you also mentioned the issue of infrastructure. But then the United Kingdom Department of International Trade was saying that the challenges bedeviling the business environment of Nigeria include extreme inequality and significant economic disparity between the North and the South. They also talked about poor infrastructure, in which you have talked about. They talked about complex and opaque regulatory environments, which somehow I think you just mentioned. That was about the last thing you mentioned, talking about the MDAs and then corruption and a fast-growing population. I'd like us to look at some of these things. You already mentioned about 2 or 3 of them. I'd like us to start with the issue of disparity between the North and the South. Help us understand how that is a problem and how that actually impacts our ease of doing business in Nigeria.
Okay, I said it earlier on that when this present government came on board, President Muhammadu Buhari set up the Presidential Energy Business Environment Council, that is PEDEC, in 2016. Now, what they looked at is they picked 2 states as members of this council, that is Kano State and Lagos State, and the reasons are not far-fetched. Kano appears to be the economic hub of the northern region, and Lagos, of course, is the economic capital of even if you say West Africa, we are not out of place. And this represents the 2 major regions that we have in Nigeria, the northern and the southern part. So it is expected that anything that works in Lagos can be replicated in some other states within the south, and anything that also works in Kano State can also be replicated in some other spoken about, or which was also highlighted as one of the challenges, is I think we beyond Kano and Lagos State, we should also begin to look at some other northern states where volume of business and the volume of economic activities is equally high. The likes of Kaduna, and some other states in the northern states, I think should also be co-opted into the SEBEC and considered as as a point of reference to be used, in developing what are policies that we encourage business to thrive in this part of the world. Also in the southern part too, I think we should also look at Abia State, for example, Abia State, Anambra State, and begin to see what we can do to encourage small and medium businesses to also spring up and also thrive in those places, because there is significant volume of economic activities going on in those other parts of the country as well. So
all right, away from that, please. All right. They also talked about population growth, and we also saw in the data they were saying that the growth, that's the slow economic growth, it's in disparity, or it's not in good proportion with the growth in population. What's your take on that?
Sorry, I didn't get that clearly.
All right, we're looking at the fact that some of the challenges highlighted by this particular research is the fact that population growth happens to be one of the challenges hampering the ease of doing business in Nigeria, or affecting the economy of Nigeria. And not only that, you were saying?
No, go ahead.
Okay, we also see the IMF saying that the economy is to grow by 2.7% in 2022, and then between 2022 and 2026 we're supposed to see between 2.6% and 2.7% growth. That, they have said, is really minimal. It's low, and then when you look at it, it's just barely above population growth estimates, and they are saying that it's not even sufficient to create the scale of jobs required and to even reduce poverty being experienced in the country. What's your take on this?
Ideally, population should be a strength. Of course, every organization that is into private manufacturing will want their products to reach out to a larger number of persons and customers or consumers, as the case is. So population should actually be a strength if we have what I consider as proper planning. Proper planning in the sense that if we have foreseen that in the years to come our population will increase, then we should also invest in infrastructure, like I said, so that the population will not overburden the current infrastructure. More roads need to be opened up. More, social facilities need to be opened up in order to accommodate our growing population in Nigeria. We should not see our growing population as a weakness, but rather as a strength if we are ready to plan for the growing population. Some other countries elsewhere, some wish that they have a kind of population, because there's hardly anything that you want to sell in this country that you won't get a market for it. So for me, it's a strength that needs to be explored. It's a strength that we need to work on, and then with proper planning, we can always have ourselves to in fact even say thank you God for giving us this kind of population. So we really need proper planning in order to accommodate the growing population. All
right, still talking about the human resources that we have available in Nigeria. According to statistics, 3.5 million young Nigerians, come of working age every year, and that adds to the pool of either the underemployed or the unemployed. Now, the labor market apparently isn't big enough to accommodate this population. What are the options available for us in Nigeria? Very quickly, in less than 2 minutes.
The option is to grow the small and medium scale organizations. Not everybody will have the opportunity to work in, multinationals and all that, or all these manufacturing companies. But if we can encourage people to also part of their business, like I said, our population is an added advantage for us. There's hardly anything that you produce, there's any service that you want to render in this country that you won't get to have your own share of the market. So let us just encourage small and medium scale organizations to try to grow, and then from there we unemployment we reduce, and we'll be able to have quite a number of people, starting up their own business, running it, and also even extending hands of fellowship to people to join them, which of course by definition means employing people to also support their businesses. So, but most importantly, we need to put the social infrastructures in place that will make all these small and medium scale business organizations to thrive. We need to cut down on multiple taxation so that it will not thief, the survival of this business. It will not affect them, because if I decide to start up a small and medium scale organization now, and the next thing I notice that federal inland revenue will come, state revenue will come, local government will come, almost all forms of tariffs, levies, and revenue requests will just come from all tiers of government.
Okay.
It may affect the survival of the business. So that's on the part of the government. Government needs to also work on that.
All right, thank you so much. I think this is a good. All right, thank you. I think this is a good place to anchor. Thanks for your thoughts, Yemioke Ashiwaju.
Thank you very much.
All right, we've been speaking with Yemioke Ashiwaju, business analyst on the show, and I guess he's shared some of his perspectives on the ease of doing business in Nigeria. Well, we'll take a break now, and still to come after the break, Brent crude futures for August dropped 84 cents or 0.7% to $117.14 per barrel in early trading session. Well, details of this in a moment. Stay with us.
Swift Dry Cleaners Limited, professional dry cleaners, best in dry cleaning and laundry services that meets the needs of our consumers. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Yeah, for clean wash and quick delivery. Yeah, Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. Swift Dry Cleaners Limited. For clean wash and quick delivery.
Swift Dry Cleaners. Clean wash, quick delivery.
Unripe plantain flour is 100% natural flour gotten from the processing of unripe plantain. It contains no addictive and has a net content of 500 grams. True unripe plantain flour contains vitamin A, B6 and C. It is gluten-free and rich in calcium. Consuming through unripe plantain flour helps to build and strengthen stronger bones and can be a great meal for diabetic patients. It decreases your chances of constipation as it has a high fiber content and provides you with a low-fat diet. Here are some steps to prepare your through unripe plantain flour. Firstly, mix through unripe plantain flour with hot water in a pot and gradually add water till you achieve desired thickness. Place over medium heat and turn very well for 4 to 5 minutes to get the right texture. Mold into a ball and place in a bowl and allow to cool. Serve with your choice of soup. Through unripe plantain flour can be eaten with any variety of soup, be it your ofe oha, ofe onugbu, begiri, ewedu, or your miyan kuka. To get your through unripe plantain flour, contact us at 12 Olowera Isheri Road by First Welder Bus Stop off Omole Phase 2, Olowera, Lagos, Nigeria, or call 070-6663-8213 or 081-6397-4447. Distributors are needed nationwide.
The photography business is a very competitive industry. Every year, thousands of talented photo lovers consider turning their passion into a money-making business venture. Especially in a fiercely competitive marketplace like Nigeria, in which it is very easy for anyone to buy a digital camera and call themselves a professional photographer. According to some practitioners, a new photographer who wants a standard studio can start with a budget of 3.5 million naira. However, one can start with a lower budget of about 500,000 to 1 million naira depending on the tools and cost of rent. On the average, the cost of photography equipment is around 294,790 naira. However, the price ranges from around 41,000 naira to as high as 2.46 million naira. Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people with a vibrant movie industry that produces 50 movies per week, generating annual revenue of approximately $590 million from between 2016 and 2021, helping the photography industry as a whole, according to a recent research by the UN.
The future of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies continue to draw a lot of attention from investors, entrepreneurs, regulators, and the general public. Many recent public discussions of cryptocurrencies have been triggered by the substantial changes in their prices, claims that the market for cryptocurrencies is a bubble without any fundamental value, and also concerns about evasion of regulatory and legal oversight. These concerns have led to calls for increased regulation or even a total ban. Further debates concern inter alia, the classification. Welcome back, and just before we go into the global oil market, we'd like to get Bukola Shomolu's perspective on the ranking by World Bank, which says that Nigeria moved to 131 out of 190 countries in the ease of doing business. Well, Bukola Shomolu is a legal practitioner and business developer. Hello, good to have you join us virtually.
Thank you. Good to have to be on here with you again.
All right. We're looking at this latest ranking, which says that Nigeria ranks 131 among 190 economies, and that's in the ease of doing business. This is according to the latest ranking from World Bank. Now, Nigeria improved from 131 in 2019, from 146 in 2018 to 131 in 2019. Now, we would like to get your perspective. Do you think this is a true reflection of the business environment in the country?
To be honest, it is. It is. Clearly, as in all cases, it always could be better, but that's the current reflection of what we have. If you understand that the Presidential Enabling Business, Ease of Business Committee is saddled with this responsibility, and they are doing their utmost best to make sure that we improve in rankings. So moving from 145 to 131 it's quite a significant leap forward, if you ask me. But then again, it's still reflective of the challenges that we still have with ease of doing business in Nigeria as it is today.
All right, now you're a business person. Tell us what these challenges are.
Okay, so the ease of this, the PEBEC, the one that the Vice President is heading, is overseeing. So they're saddled with the responsibility of ensuring that certain ministries, departments, and agencies that interface directly with the public and the private sector, are able to remove the bureaucratic bottlenecks, within the system. So, for example, you have the Ministry of Interior, you talk about customs, you talk about immigration, you have the Ministry of Trade, you talk about the Federal Consumer Protection Commission, you talk about Ministry of Finance, you talk about the Central Bank, you talk about all these ministries, departments, and agencies. So what they're supposed to do, you talk about the Corporate Affairs Commission. So let's take Corporate Affairs Commission, for instance. When they first started online during the time of Dr. Ndudi Ukereke, very noble ideal to go online to ease the ease of registration. It was frustrated, but then coming again recently, they've revamped the entire system, and it's working very, very well. I will give it easily 80% score for the CSE, easily. You see, because the 20%, there will always be issues here and there, and they're trying to address them as we move along. And for instance, if you register a business within 24 hours or at most 48 hours, you have your business name cleared to go. As if it is good to go, or if it's not good to go, within 24, 48 hours, it's cleared. So you know which direction you are going. And within another 48 to 72 hours, your business is registered. So they are improving. They are improving, and they are doing very, very well. But for some other departments, like the immigration, like custom, there are still serious challenges there. You want to right now for the immigration, you can now do your process your passport without third-party interference online, but it's not working on ground. So in one regard, they're doing very well. In other regards, they are not doing as much as they should or they can possibly do.
All right, now that you've talked about the ministries, departments, and agencies, I mean, there are those who are talking about other issues such as maybe the infrastructure, and that talks about energy, that talks about running costs, and some other things that you find in the transportation and all of that. And not only that, some persons are also talking about insecurity. There are so many things that people have mentioned. I would like to hear your perspective on that. Is it that that isn't a challenge for you, or you think, well, we're doing well on that front?
Well, so when we talk about ease of doing business, there's a lot of factors we have to consider. So there are factors that are public sector based. There are also factors that are private sector based. There are factors that are federal government based. There are factors that are state government based, and there are factors that are local government based. So you put all these things together are what makes business either easy or difficult to do. Okay, so you talk about the global energy crisis. Price of crude oil has,
Hello, can you hear me?
You find that recently we've had this issue in the last couple of days where people are selling fuel not at 165 naira, but at 180. In fact, day before yesterday, in my presence, the pump price was changed from 165 naira to 180 naira. But as of this morning, when I went to go and buy, it was priced at 165 naira. So these things, they are issues. The price of diesel has gone north. It's gone crazy. The price of kerosene, the same thing. So these things affect the ease of doing business. In the last couple of weeks, we also had issues with electricity, national grid down, a lot of things happening, a lot of sabotage along the way. So it's making it difficult. I mean, I know people who, had to shut down their diesel system and go and move from diesel to petrol. And that's dangerous. In an office, moving from diesel to petrol is dangerous. Diesel powered generators to petrol powered generators is dangerous. So all these things complicate the ease of doing business. Yeah, and then you talk about taxes, you still talk about multiple taxation from the federal to the state to local government, and then within the state, it's tough recently. It's tough recently, I must say. Business is tough recently.
All right, you talked about multiple taxation. I would like you to talk about that because even recently, Bakers Association are also talking about the fact that we're in a situation where so many things are really happening. Earnings are eroding as a result of inflation and the high cost of production and all of that. And they are saying that shouldn't something be done to alleviate, what people are going through now? If we have multiple taxation and then we're at a time where earnings are eroding, shouldn't the government be considering something, some sort of maybe social instrument to ensure that businesses thrive in this period?
From the point of view of policy and law, the national tax policy is there. I think it was inaugurated in 2020 or thereabout. It seeks to streamline taxation. So, for example, for the states and local government.
But I guess we're having a connection issue right there. Well, he was talking about the ease of doing business, especially as it relates to multiple taxation. And he was trying to explain what the government has done in that area, talking about streamlining the process so that, at the end of the day, maybe, just maybe, businesses will be better for it. If you can hear me, please go ahead.
Oh, okay, yeah. So in terms of at the state and local government level, there's need to actually streamline and harmonize taxes that are collected from the private sector. There's so I was having a conversation with someone. I said, like, I'm going to suggest, is there a way, for instance, for the small and medium scale and small and medium scale enterprises, the hurdle, the barrier to entry into business is tough. So and I think that government needs to have a rethink in that sector because this is where majority of Nigerians are self-employed, or at least employing one or two people, and things are tough. The purchasing power parity for each Nigerian as we stand today is seriously eroded. What you could afford even in January, you may not even be able to afford now as we speak. So there's need to harmonize the taxes collected and need to harmonize the entry. The barriers to entry have to be removed as much as possible.
You want to set up, these barriers? Can you talk about them?
So I give you an example. You have someone who is able to make ogi, pap, corn flour, porridge, if I'm, just to make sense out of it. And she has only, so much money to buy half a bag of corn, half a bag of millet, and have, and all of these things. And she wants to register her business. She wants to improve. She wants to improve on the scale of her business. She goes to NAFDAC. NAFDAC has its scale of fees. Okay, this lady will not ever be able to afford the scale of fees of NAFDAC, not to talk of the rigor of the environment where she'll be required to produce this ogi. So the entry barriers for this micro, small, and medium scale should be reviewed and lowered, and possibly as much as possible removed, to encourage the micro, small, and medium enterprises to grow. Because this is what is going to be part of what will revamp the economy. It's not just only giving 5,000 naira per month to the less privileged and those who are not working. But if you allow the micro, small, and medium scale enterprises to come into business with all these barriers lower, they will be able to grow the economy. They'll be able to employ more people, and of course, when you employ one person, you're already taking care of almost 2, 3, 4, 5, even 6 people. So if these barriers are reviewed and removed, you will help the micro, small, and medium scale enterprises to scale up.
All right, Bukola, let me come in here. Talking about the barriers, you talked about NAFDAC, for example. Now, I would say NAFDAC, that's laudable. We're looking at quality there. So if we lower these barriers you're talking about, what happens to quality control? What happens to, some of these checks that are really important at the end of the day?
Yeah, I agree with you. I just give you an example. Okay, so you will go to the market and you will go and buy your ogi. The ogi you
All right, Bukola Shomolu, he is a legal practitioner and business developer. He's been speaking to us from the perspective of a business owner on the ease of doing business in Nigeria. And I think he's been saying a whole lot. And can you hear me now? I guess he's back now. Bukola, can you hear me? If you can hear me, please go ahead. All right, talking about the barriers, he gave us an example, and I'm quite, I really would like to have his response to that particular question, talking about ensuring that quality is still in place. We're not giving that away on the altar of ensuring that the barriers are all removed. Okay, all right, please go ahead if you can hear me.
Yeah, the barriers I'm talking about are not there. Okay, so the quality of your product must be the quality of your product. Okay. What I'm saying is, they must be given some leeway to be able to improve. For example, they are using small machines to produce. They must be given the opportunity to grow into big machines by looking at the small machines they are using and maybe certifying them and say, okay, at this scale you can use this. You cannot expect somebody who produces corn flour in a factory, in a multi-billion naira factory, to someone who is producing ogi in her backyard. You cannot expect that kind of person to have the kind of scale that somebody who has a multi-million naira factory will have, or the kind of equipment that kind of person will have. So at that level, certify what they will use. This enables them to be able to produce at their own level and then scale up. So those are the kind of barriers we're asking them to remove. We're not saying impair quality. No. We're not saying impair quality. We are saying give these people the opportunity to scale up, and then, of course, quality then it begins to improve. That is the kind of thing that we're talking about. We're not saying, for instance, if you are, no poor person imports drugs. So we know that if you're going to import drugs and you're importing at scale, then you must import, quality drugs. So we're not talking about that. We're talking about the people at the lower rung of the business ladder, the micro, small, and medium enterprises. People who don't have so much fund, they don't have the millions to be able to scale up their businesses. They only have a few thousands, tens of thousands, a few hundreds of thousands. But you can help them to grow big. And this is this is the beauty of what the ease of doing business is all about. Enabling those at the lower end of the business scale, the micro, small, and medium enterprises to be able to scale up, because this is what impacts on the economy. This is what helps to drive employment. This is what helps to drive production. This is what helps to drive the gross domestic product. Not only those businesses that make the millions, who are working in the millions that we're talking about.
All right,
those are
thank
few.
you. Thank you for your thoughts, Bukola. And very quickly, in 1 minute, I'd like you to talk about this. You were talking about scaling up. What's the role of the Bank of Industry here? How helpful has it been?
I don't have the statistics on the Bank of Industry, but from my little knowledge of the Bank of Industry, I think they have helped businesses over the years to be able to grow. I think recently also they did something with the Afrexim Bank and helping to improve on the availability of funding to be able to help enterprises to scale. So from that perspective, I think they are doing a bit, but I think they could do more. They could do more. A lot of awareness for people at the lower rung, because Bank of Industry is industry, whether it's at the micro level or at the medium, or large level. Industry is industry. So they must be able to help all strata of industry, everyone at each level of industry, to be able to scale up. So I think they must also see how they can do this, especially working with the SMEDA, the Small and Medium Enterprises Development.
All right, thank you so much, Bukola.
In all these agents.
Thank you, Bukola Shomolu, for your thoughts on the show. We've been speaking with him. He's a legal practitioner and business developer. And well, still to come after the break, we'll bring you the Global Oil Report. Stay with us.
Photography business is a very competitive industry. Every year, thousands of talented photo lovers consider turning their passion into a money-making business venture. Especially in a fiercely competitive marketplace like Nigeria, in which it is very easy for anyone to buy a digital camera and call themselves a professional photographer. According to some practitioners, a new photographer who wants a standard studio can start with a budget of 3.5 million naira. However, one can start with a lower budget of about 500,000 to 1 million naira depending on the tools and cost of rent. On the average, the cost of photography equipment is around 294,790 naira. However, the price ranges from around 41,000 naira to as high as 2.46 million naira. Nigeria has a population of over 200 million people with a vibrant movie industry that produces 50 movies per week, generating annual revenue of approximately $590 million from between 2016 and 2021, helping the photography industry as a whole, according to a recent research by the UN.
The future of cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrencies continue to draw a lot of attention from investors, entrepreneurs, regulators, and the general public. Many recent public discussions of cryptocurrencies have been triggered by the substantial changes in their prices, claims that the market for cryptocurrencies is a bubble without any fundamental value, and also concerns about evasion of regulatory and legal oversight. These concerns have led to calls for increased regulation or even a total ban. Further debates concern inter alia, the classification of cryptocurrencies as commodities, money, or something else, the potential development of cryptocurrency derivatives and of credit contracts in cryptocurrency, the use of initial coin offerings (ICO), employing cryptocurrency technology to finance startup initiatives, and the issue of digital currencies by central banks employing cryptocurrency technologies. Market size and opportunities. The total market capitalization of the 100 largest cryptocurrencies is reported to exceed the equivalent of 330 billion euros globally by early 2018. The total market capitalization of all cryptocurrencies together in that period peaked at an Welcome back. Oil prices fell on Wednesday after rising in the previous 3 sessions as the market tussled between concerns about the global economy and tight global oil supplies. Brent crude futures for August dropped 84 cents or 0.7% to $117.14 per barrel in early trading session. The August contract will expire on Thursday, and the more active September contract was at $113.17, down 63 cents or 0.6%. U.S. West Texas Intermediate WTI crude futures slid 54 cents or 0.5% to $111.22 per barrel. Both contracts rose more than 2% on Tuesday as concerns over tight supplies due to Western sanctions on Russia outweighed fears that demand may slow in a potential future recession. Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates have been seen as the only 2 members of OPEC with spare capacity to make up for lost Russian supply. However, comments from UAE Energy Minister Suhail Al-Mazroui and French President Emmanuel Macron this week indicated little room for these producers to increase output further. And now stocks dropped Wednesday on renewed worries about economic growth as monetary policy tightens in much of the world to fight inflation. As an Asian equity index snapped a 4-day climb, shedding over 1%, European futures dipped and U.S. contracts edged up. Institutional portfolio rebalancing may be impacting trading. China's bourses were in the red too as optimism ebbed over a surprise move from a day earlier to reduced quarantine times for inbound travelers. The step hinted at an eventual shift away from a strategy of stamping out COVID that involves great economic cost via lockdowns and travel curbs. The dollar held gains after rising the most in over a week in the Wall Street session. Treasuries advanced, lowering the 10-year yield at 3.13%. In cryptocurrencies, Bitcoin continued to hover around the $20,000 level. And of course, joining us to make sense of this is Frank Omolape, Senior Business Analyst, Senior Business Anchor, iBrandTV. Hello, Frank. Good to have you join us today. Frank, can you hear me? All right, so we're looking at the fact that the decline in the oil market, we're trying to look at what is responsible for that. And this is after rising for about 3 days, 3 consecutive sessions. But now we had the decline yesterday, and this is what we're trying to make sense of. Hello, Frank, can you hear me now? All right, we'll take a break now, and when we return, we'll continue with the conversation. Stay with us. Right. Welcome back. Glad to have you. Well, at this point, we'll end the conversation for today. Thank you so much for joining us on Business Breakfast. I am Perpetua Fasole Peter. Do enjoy the rest of the day and bye for now.